Hey everyone, and welcome to the Explainer. If you're the kind of person who just loves figuring out how our world ticks, well, you're in exactly the right spot. Today, we're taking a deep dive, pun absolutely intended, into the interconnected world of the hydrosphere. We're going to explore the massive web of life that thrives just beneath the surface of the water, from the absolute smallest microscopic organisms to the most gigantic creatures on the planet. It's a fascinating journey of survival, adaptation, and balance. Let's get into it.
To really wrap our heads around the scale of what we're looking at today, we've got to start with one staggering fact. A massive 71% of Earth is covered in water. Think about that. That makes the hydrosphere an absolutely crucial part of the biosphere, the layer of our planet that supports all life, whether that's in the water, in the air, or on land. When we talk about life in water, we aren't just talking about a few isolated puddles. We're talking about the dominant environment of our entire planet.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We'll start with Earth's interconnected hydrosphere, then we'll check out the microscopic menu with plankton, look at some fierce freshwater residents, move on to giants of the saltwater, and wrap it all up with amazing aquatic adaptations. Section 1, Earth's interconnected hydrosphere, the rules of the water. The hydrosphere isn't just one giant bathtub. It's made up of incredibly diverse environments. Oceans, ponds, lakes, rivers, each packed with totally different species of aquatic life. But the absolutely crucial point here is that they are all deeply connected. The populations of these species are governed by a really fragile balance. Factors like lunar cycles, temperature changes, daylight hours, and predator-prey relationships affect the whole system. For instance, just a decrease in winter daylight can reduce algae growth. That single change ripples out, shrinking the food supply for small fish, which then directly impacts the larger predators that eat those small fish. Literally everything is connected. Moving to Section 2. The microscopic menu, plankton, the base of the food chain. So life in the water comes in all shapes and sizes, right? But the absolute smallest is plankton. Now, what's kind of wild is that while tons of plankton species are microscopic, totally invisible to the human eye, plankton isn't only microscopic. Like jellyfish, they're actually a form of larger plankton. Crazy, right? But regardless of their size, plankton are the ultimate menu item in the water. They're the essential source of nutrients and energy for countless aquatic organisms, from the tiniest fish all the way up to massive whales. Which actually brings up a really fun question. If plankton represents the smallest form of life fueling the hydrosphere, what exactly is the largest organism living in the water? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we start scaling up and looking at some of the bigger creatures on our journey. Section 3. Fierce freshwater residents, lakes and rivers. Wading into fresh water, you see some wild contrasts. On one hand, you've got the super tranquil lake frog. It's an amphibian, maybe 4 to 6 inches long, perfectly camouflaged in plant-rich lakes or calm river bends. It quietly hangs out, snacking on insects and hard-shelled fish. But then, on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, sharing South American freshwater habitats, you've got the piranha. You know the one, famous for those razor-sharp teeth and going on literal feeding frenzies, violently chasing after schools of fish. And wait, what? Check this out. As we dig into the source material, we find out that piranhas can actually be poisonous. No way, right? And while pop culture loves to paint them as these bloodthirsty meat eaters, they are way more complex. Yes, they definitely have a taste for other animals, but surprisingly, some piranhas actually eat plants, making them omnivores. It just goes to show you how completely adaptable freshwater life can be. Speaking of adaptations, here's a question that highlights one of the more bizarre evolutionary paths in our waterways. Why do lampreys not have jaws? Well, to figure that out, we have to look at the lamprey itself, a resident of rivers and streams in the northwestern part of the United States. The source gives us this slightly unsettling quote. Unlike other fish and people, they have no jaws, so their teeth can always be seen. Yikes! They kind of look like eels, but they're completely different. The reason they look so incredibly bizarre is that their bodies are entirely made of cartilage. And this brilliantly illustrates how form follows function in the hydrosphere. Because they don't have a jaw, lampreys evolved a highly specific way of eating. They feed on very small life forms and living particles, which they literally clean out of the water using their gills. They manage to thrive with this unique suction-like anatomy right alongside more traditional fish, like salmon and trout, in those shared northwestern streams. Before we jump from freshwater out to the saltwater environments, we absolutely have to mention the ultimate bridge between these two worlds, the crocodile. Able to live in freshwater, saltwater, and wetlands, crocodiles are the absolute largest living reptiles on Earth today. They can grow up to 20 feet long and tip the scales at a mind-bending 2,200 pounds. They are true carnivores, totally dominating their habitats by feeding on fish, birds, frogs, and shellfish. All right, Section 4, Giants of the Saltwater, swimming into the deep ocean. To really build our understanding of scale, we've got to look at sharks. The ocean is home to around 1,000 different types of sharks, all rocking that tough skin, huge jaws, and completely boneless cartilage bodies. But the size difference among these species, it's absolutely staggering. You've got the dwarf lantern shark, which maxes out at a tiny 8 inches long. And on the exact opposite end of the spectrum, the whale shark, stretching out to a massive 60 feet. Yep, this 60-foot giant is the whale shark, cementing its status as the absolute longest and biggest shark in the ocean. But remember our microscopic menu from earlier? Despite its intimidating size, this giant actually survives by filtering massive amounts of tiny plankton right out of the water. Talk about full circle. But hey, to answer our question from earlier about the absolute largest organism living in the water, we have to look past the sharks and turn to the mammals. Whales range from 26 feet to a colossal 97 feet long. According to the source material we're exploring today, the humpback whale is the largest animal living in saltwater. What's amazing about these giants is that, unlike fish, they breathe air just like people and have to come up to the surface. Plus, they are incredible travelers. Living mostly in freezing cold waters, humpbacks will swim up to 3,000 miles to warmer waters just to have their babies. And that brings us to Section 5, Amazing Aquatic Adaptations, Tools for Survival. Adaptations are basically nature's toolkit. It's how these animals survive and thrive in their specific environments. Lake frogs evolved webbed feet to make them powerful swimmers. Plankton are biologically designed to float effortlessly along water currents. Marine giants like sharks and whales have perfectly streamlined bodies to glide efficiently through heavy salt water. And those bizarre freshwater lampreys evolved suction mouths to latch onto rocks and feed in fast-moving streams. These traits show us how totally different conditions in freshwater and marine environments actively shape the way life evolves. Which leaves us marveling at how aquatic organisms solve the crazy challenges they face. As we've seen today, the answer is through highly specialized, fascinating evolution. Every single creature, no matter how small or gigantic, has developed a biological solution to the unique puzzle of its habitat. And with that, our explainer comes to a close. Great job learning about life in water today. But as you look at this incredible web of life, I want to leave you with this one thought. As our aquatic environments naturally shift in temperature and condition over time, which of these amazing adaptations is going to prove the most vital for the changes to come? Keep asking questions, stay curious, and I'll see you in the next explainer.